Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. Game over, series over, and the Red Sox are world champs again. And so are these fans. It hasn't happened at Fenway Park for 95 years. The Red Sox are world champions.
Boston organization has been well run for a long time now. From the top on down, here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series. 5-1 the final tonight. And the best team in baseball wins it all in 2018.
The Red Sox have won the World Championship. The Boston Red Sox beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 5-1. They win the World Series 4-1. And the Red Sox become the first team in the 21st century with 4 World Championships. Can you believe it?
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Pesky Podcast. I am your host, the Ritt. With me is our head writer, Mr. George Sutherland. George, what's been going on? I am so hoping that the wife is happy with you.
Very much so. No, we had a great little mini vacation. Got a chance to go up down east. For those not familiar, that's up coast in Maine, called the Bold Coast, and we stayed in a little town called Machias. Very nice place. It was nice. Kind of retraced a little bit of our honeymoon steps we went through there when we got married. So that was really nice. And we had, just had a chance to kind of relax and, not have to go do anything, which was always a nice thing to do. So, and I would say she's very happy with me.
Oh, well, I'm glad that. Happy wife, happy life. I also just got back from a little small, day and a half vacation. Went to the beach with the family. Got a little red all over. But, man, speaking of something, let's talk about a color first. Better than red. And it's just like the shirt I'm wearing. The yellow the yellow City Connect jerseys, man. Like, why do we ever take them off? Like, why?
I mean, initially weren't those supposed to be for special occasions? And then they drag them out. But
the new special occasion is anytime we need a win.
Man, ball players are superstitious. They are incredibly superstitious. And the old story, if you think it works, it works. Remembering that quote from Bull Durham about not messing with a streak, would clean that one up. But the record shows for itself that when they play with the jerseys, they seem to do better. It has nothing to do with the game. It has everything to do with their mental mindset. So, if the equipment manager wants to roll those out for the rest of the season at home, I'm okay with it. And as long as MLB doesn't really complain, why not?
Yeah, so let's sit there and see. Over the last week, we went 6-2.
6-2, yeah.
So it's not too bad. We wore the City Connect jerseys for most of the time. As soon as we went on the road to DC, no pun intended, we decided not to wear them, but we kept rolling. We won last night, 5-4, and man, it's like you said, it's a mindset you got to get in, and as soon as they put on those City Connect jerseys, it's like they're a completely different team. I think we should sit there and wear them till the end of the season, because George, looking at this, the remaining as of what was August 14th, as of Monday, after the National Series, we got 44 games left.
Right.
Okay. 7 against Houston. 7 against Baltimore. 7
Yeah.
against the Yankees. 5 against Tampa. 3 against the Dodgers. 3 against Toronto. 3 against Texas. 3 against Kansas City. 3 more against the Nationals. And 3 against the White Sox. So, looking at
That
the
is a tough schedule,
schedule,
my friend.
yes. Looking at the schedule, the White Sox should be good overall.
Mm-hmm.
The Nationals, we should be good with them. Kansas City could
We've
go
got to
either
play better
way.
than we did. Yeah. Well, we've
Yeah.
got to play better than we did back at home. We're probably going to talk about it a little later, but they're a different team right now. So.
Yeah. 3 against Toronto. That could go either
Yeah.
way. But, we've already tore them up in the first couple meetings. But the last time we played them, they swept
return the
us.
favor. Yep.
So the Dodgers are coming to town, and that's just going to be. Hopefully, the emotions don't overboard our seriousness that we need to take, because the Dodgers come to town next weekend, and of course we've got JD coming back, Mookie's coming back, Brazier, Joe Kelly. We got half the freaking our 2018 team over there.
Kike.
Kike.
Yeah. This is where I think Turner is going to play a big role. Being the sage veteran that he is, and for that case, Martin as well. Hey guys, they're just another baseball team. Yeah, you got friends here. You got friends all over the league. We got a game for us to continue to play and play well. We have an objective in line. They're just another team we have to go through. I think that's Turner's leadership will probably come to the fore at that point. So
yeah, 7 against the Yankees, and they're not the Yankees we were used to. So, the big ones, I think, of the last 44 is the 7 against Baltimore and the 7 against Houston. The 3 against Texas is also, it's a small series, 3-game sample size, but those 17 games could make or break us overall.
Right. That's about as well put as you can. If you looked at it and said, okay, they could probably go 500 the rest of the way, you got to make some hay against these guys. Okay.
Exactly.
Particularly Baltimore. Okay. I mean, you got to give them the respect that they deserve. They are a hungry, talented young team, and they will rip you apart. So, yeah, I think this is a much different team than even 3 weeks ago, and you can kind of see it in how they're handling themselves right now. So, I think you're going to see a better version of the Red Sox against the better teams.
Well, the boys are back.
Yep.
So, since the last time we had a podcast, Trevor Story came back, Chris Sale came back, Whitlock came back, and on Monday, Tanner Houck's coming back.
Right.
So, looking at that, Houck today, 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, no earned runs, no walks, 4 Ks. So,
works for me.
I like that. Chris Sale has looked really good coming back, and that is really impressive considering, no one knew exactly what his role was going to be. Whitlock, right to the bullpen, and let's talk about that bullpen right now, George. That bullpen we have, top 5 in baseball. They could sit there and mix and match like you sit there and you and I were talking about earlier. Our bullpen now consists of guys where AC can mix and match and extend and contract anytime. Going from the back, you got Kenley Jansen.
Mhm.
Like last night, Wink took the 8th, Martin took the 7th. Flip-flop the roles, same results. Loved it.
Throw Martin in the 9th if Jansen can't go. He's demonstrated he's done that as well.
Yeah,
Again,
and Chris and Martin. Martin's given up one run since what was it? In his last June 7th, June 9th, something like
7th
that.
or 8th, yeah.
Yeah, he's locked in.
He is,
So,
and you can see that too, just how he goes out and handles himself. He's all business, and you can see the mind turning, and he's just like, "Yep, I'm going to take care of this guy right now." There's a confidence there that he just goes out there and does his job.
So, looking at the rotation once Hal comes back, George, what are you thinking they're going to be doing with Pivetta? Pivetta's been able. He's stepped up. He's took the starting roles. Last night he struggled a little bit.
He did. His slider was off last night. I think they stick him in as the number 5. I think moving forward, your rotation is Sale, Paxton, Bayo, Houck, and Pivetta. Okay, Pivetta as your number 5 starter is not a bad option. I've been a huge Pivetta fan. Okay, the man does what he's supposed to do. He goes out there. You send him out there every 5 days, he'll do it. He was not pitching well when they sent him to the bullpen. He rediscovered himself. Okay. They were talking about it last night in the broadcast. He was always a good north-south pitcher. Now, with the slider, it's going a little bit east-west. Okay, so the batter can't really guess right when it's coming. So that makes him more effective. He didn't have a great feel for the slider last night, and that happens. But going his previous 20 outings, he's been extraordinarily effective. And he's part of his new deal is he's coming out of the bullpen if he's going to start. That's like, hey, listen, I found success. Again, baseball players are creatures of habit. Okay, he thinks it probably has nothing to do with it. You probably sit in the dugout and come out and do the same thing, but he believes it makes him better. So by all means, come on out of the bullpen, big guy.
Yeah, Schreiber picked up the win last night. Schreiber as a nice 3.08 ERA. Yep. So it's like, man, overall, Pivetta for the season now, a 4.34. He's 8-6.
8-6. That's fine for a 4-5 starter. Absolutely.
So you're thinking they're going to put Crawford back in the bullpen then?
Yeah, I do. For a number of reasons. He has looked a little tired the last couple of times out. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's like he's not as sharp as he was. I did some digging this afternoon, and so far for 2023, Crawford is 2023. He's got 90 innings pitched in the bigs this year. His all-time high was in 2018, where he had 143. So he hasn't done that in 5 years, okay? Mm-hmm. And, remember, at the beginning of the season, he was your long guy with Winkowski, and did a phenomenal job. But, he's been bounced in and out. He seems to have trouble getting from past inning 4 to inning 5, a lot like we saw in the beginning of the year with Tanner Houck. So he hasn't crossed that. I think you take the pressure off of him, stick him back in a role he's very comfortable with, okay? And, you suddenly have, at that point, we talked about roles, okay? At that point, if you look at your long guys, all right, you have Whitlock, Crawford, and Murphy, okay?
Don't forget Winkowski.
Well, I think what you're going to see with Winkowski is, if you absolutely need him, will go long. But he's demonstrated that if you give him an inning and tell him to go out there and fire bullets, he's got his velocity up to 97, 98, 99. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I think they want to try to harness that into a weapon in the late innings. He can't do the job long. Okay, so you have a very nice problem right there. And you bring if somebody falters, okay, if Sale doesn't have a good game or Paxton or Bayo or one of those guys, you know what? You've got three or four guys you can go to and say, hey, go take the hill and take care of business. Okay.
Yeah.
And they've done away with the opener, which suddenly makes guys like Bernardino, Shriver, and Murphy a lot more consistent and effective in the pen. The guy who loses in all of this is Jovera, the kid they picked up from the Giants. I think I don't think he has any options left, so I think he's probably DFA'd when Hulk shows up on Monday. I like his slider, but he hasn't really done anything since he got here. And if he accepts, if they pass waivers and he accepts an assignment, he can go work on his craft down in Worcester. So.
Yep. No, our bullpen. Can you remember the last time the Red Sox had a bullpen as good as what we have right now?
2003, 2004.
And that's a while. Like, everybody wants to sit there and crucify Heimblum, but he's put together on paper a feasible bullpen for us. Do we need one, maybe two legitimate starters?
Yep.
What's this offseason? Sure. But the bullpen is solid. That way, any of our starters could sit there and, hey, they can even interchange. Sale needs a couple more days off. Okay, move him to the bullpen, skip his rotation, and we can sit there and throw Cutter Crawford in the start.
Right.
You could throw Whitlock out. I would love, I talked about this with DC. I'm not sure if you were on there or not. I personally would love Sale go 3 innings, and then bring Whitlock in for 3 innings. Man, that slider from the left, then all of a sudden that slider is coming from the right. How do you adjust from that so quickly?
Oh, you don't. And then Winkowski, Martin, and Jansen to really mess you up at the end. I mean, good heavens, you're going to go away talking to yourself. They've got for once, AC has a full deck of cards to play with out there. And, if the health issues go away, okay, and there's a cloud that's going to hang over, Sale and Whitlock, because of their history of injury lately, okay, if they can stay healthy down the stretch, yeah, this is a very good pitching staff. And congratulations to Chaim Bloom. We talked about it at least 5 or 6 times already this season. He set out at the back end of the bullpen to make it work by signing Martin and Jansen. Okay. A good setup guy and an established closer. We were waiting for Shriver to get back. He's back. Winkowski looks like he can be the guy that, he can be the Swiss Army knife out there. Long, short. I'm really impressed with what he did last night. Coming through an inning and just throw darts, right? He now AC's got a bullpen out there, and it's not like the continuing shuttle ride from Worcester to Boston. To that extent, congratulations to Chaim for having the bus ready and have enough arms out there to keep feeding the team. When for all practical purposes, there was nothing out there. So as much as people want to dump on him, depth is important. And that's what AAA is for. Keep your big league, disaster ready. It's a disaster recovery plan. Your talent's in AA, but your backup is at AAA, and he's done a pretty good job.
Well, what did you think about that? They called up Kyle Barlow,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, what did you think about him? He came in, shut everybody down.
I thought he pitched exceptionally well. He's got some major league experience. Another one of the low risk, high reward pickups that Chaim is famous for, right? They worked on some stuff, down there as the pitching gurus and within the front office and coaching staffs say, hey, look, I see what this kid has got a problem with, or maybe if we have him do this or we have him do that. And and the other thing is when they bring guys in, they want to make sure they have open minds, and then they're not like, well, this is how I've always done it. Mm-hmm. So he looked good. I'd like to see more of him. I think he will if the situation presents itself. But yeah, he acquitted himself very well the other day. I was very happy to see that.
Man, I loved how finally the broadcast team last night made reference to Winkowski looking like Goose.
Oh, that was so good, wasn't it?
I've been saying for how long now? I'm like, talk to me, Goose. I sit there and I went and threw out a T-shirt design to our newest edition. She's gonna show up on Sunday to make her debut with us. But it's gonna be a talk to me Wink, with a silhouette of a guy, the aviators and the mustache. So Wink is legitimately he's sit there and handled his role because he went from trying to be a starter to being somebody fantastic in the bullpen, and I love him. We talked about our pitching staff, getting the band back together. But Trevor Story came back, and, well, there was a battle that happened, and the best man won. And the sad part is like, I was a huge Yu Chang fan. But Reyes, with that walk-off, was a grand slam. Yeah. He had the dive, like the jumping, leaping, catch, the dive, like there was absolutely nothing Yu Chang could have done.
No. And here's the thing with Reyes, okay? Again, it sounds like a broken record when I talk about these things, but not a low risk, high reward pickup, low money pickup, by the Red Sox. Look at it from his perspective. He goes from the Oakland A's, soon to be the Las Vegas A's, to the Red Sox, an organization that's looking to try to lose as many games as they can, to the Red Sox that are desperate trying to win something. I mean, it's kind of like going from the outhouse to the penthouse, right?
Exactly.
Okay. He thinks he's landed in heaven. Oh my God, I get to play for a team that really wants to win, and he wasn't doing anything with that much in AAA. He's a classic dirt dog. Okay. Every time he plays, he gets his uniform dirty, right? That, advancing, on the base paths last night, he did that. Okay. He's diving to make plays. He does everything. One of the things that I think that has happened, and I don't think you can lose sight of the fact, is that before he went on the IL, he kind of showed a little bit of promise on both sides, offense and defense. But he went on the IL, and on his return, they had him, in AA and AAA, and it seemed to reinstill his confidence a little bit. Because they had him playing second base, shortstop, third base, and center field. And he showed he could handle it all. Okay? Unfazed, did what they wanted him to do, did it with a smile on his face. Just what you want a kid that kind of talent to do. And that made Arroyo, Chang, and Kike expendable. And no moment seems too big for him. I mean, the night of the Grand Slam, he just went up there and took care of business. And, he was like a little kid going around the bases. I mean, he realized the magnitude of what he did. But he plays a steady brand of baseball. He can run. He's aggressive on the base paths. Average to slightly above average defender. And right now, he's a good solution for second base. And you know what? He's a little bit of a spark plug as well. A great find. Good winning teams find guys like this, that maybe haven't shown a lot, but you would take a flyer and go, I think this kid in the right conditions could do this. I think in this case, Pablo Reyes is that guy. So yeah, he's done an awful lot in the time that he's been here.
Yeah, it took him a little bit to find a suitable infielder that can work. For Yu Chang, the time that Reyes started getting on hot was just the exact same time that it was Story time, and Trevor Story came back, and Yu Chang was just the odd person out. It wasn't nothing, because when he made contact with the ball, it went. His defense was great. I just wish that during the time when we had the Kike experiment at shortstop, that they would have let Chang take over at shortstop to get him more into a groove to show off a lot more of what he can do.
Yeah, but Chang was also hurt, and that he had the hand-bone problem. I mean, I feel bad for Chang. He had a stellar opening round of the WBC, right? National hero, comes out, gets to camp a little bit late. It's on the opening day roster, does a couple of good things, gets hurt, right? Then he comes back. He's obviously a much better defensive shortstop than Kike will ever be. But it's all or nothing with him. He tries to swing for the fences when at times what he should do is be a good contact hitter. And his whatever his batting average was when he left was like 186 or something like that. He behaved like somebody that was hitting below the Mendoza line, right? I loved his shorts. I loved how he played, defense. He did it. He was professional. He did it. I think the numbers just proved out, and I feel bad for him. But he took his assignment. He cleared waivers, and he's down in AAA, and some.
And that AAA team, good Lord!
Oh Lord, is that loaded?
Oh, if you look like the player of the week, Wilyer Abreu.
Oh baby,
he hit 3 home runs the other night in the same game. It's AAA International League Player of the Week. 591 batting average, 6 home runs, 16 RBIs, 13 hits, 33 total bases, and a 2.125 OPS for a week. For a week, from August 8th to August 13th.
It begs the question whether or not, if you look towards next year, and I think we both want to see Cedane Rafaela up there, but if they decide to do something, with Verdugo, or make some changes, I could definitely see him playing right field. See how he adjusts. I mean, right now he looks to be the best steal of the Vasquez trade. Even though I like
everybody sat there. Everybody thought Valdez was the big piece, and Abreu's like, whoa, don't forget about me. And to go off of what you're saying about Verdugo, I love Verdugo, but if they decide to move on with him, and they could possibly move on from Duvall too. He was only a 1-year deal,
right?
You have Abreu that could come up. Rafaela could come up. Like, they have other options. Right now, Wilyer Abreu is making a statement of when September call-ups come up, now you can't overlook me.
Yeah, the rules have changed a little bit. You can't flood the bench like you used to be able to, but you can bring up 4 or 5 players or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think they expand the roster to 28.
28 would give you 2 extra players. You got 26-man roster.
Yeah,
I mean, in the old days, I mean, they you'd see the 40-man roster there, and you need a double-decker bus in the dugout, but he'd definitely be a call-up. As well as Rafaela for a different reason. Rafaela for defensive purposes and more speed on the bases.
Yep, 2 extra players.
2 extra players. Okay.
They can call up any 2 players That's our members of the 40-man roster for the month.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah.
The hard cap at 28 is an important distinction for September of old. Previously, now I got to read this now. That is no longer the case, though. Even a boost of 2 extra players should be helpful for the stretch run.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like, they can get called up, but when does the AAA championship come? Like, because the Woo Sox are right there in it.
Right. When's this season end? Hang on, I got the schedule here.
Yeah. So, we got to look at it right then. Like, wait a minute. Could the Red Sox want to call up these players, but they might not be able to because they might be in a championship run right away?
Ooh, the regular season ends in AAA on Sunday, at least for the Woo Sox, because they're at Lehigh Valley on September 24th.
Okay, well, if they're in the middle of a run, they're going to have to pick. But then again, Bobby Dahlbeck's down there. Like, are we just going to let him down there to help carry the team? What pitcher are they? Because you can't sit there and tell me that they're going to just bring 2 hitters up. You would think they got to bring a pitcher in to help with the bullpen, but it's almost 2 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away. If Sale, Houck, and Whitlock are healthy, maybe we don't need that extra pitcher on there.
But so they can bring them up. I mean, they can also send them down. I mean, so there is that. I think it depends. Like I said, I think it depends on where the big club is. The big club is more important than. It'd be great if Worcester, if your minor league teams could make the playoffs. But it's more, your purpose of being the minor leagues is to help the big club. So
yeah,
I can honestly see where they would maybe sacrifice a run at a championship in AAA if they felt as though they had 1 or 2 guys that would be help augment the offense if needed, or as I say, pitching. If they make that value a 1-on-1. Give me a pitcher and a hitter.
Well, sit there and look at it. Greenville, their single A team, they get a playoff spot because of they were the first half championship team.
Correct. So
that's great. Like, their minor league teams are doing wonderful job. Where's Portland at?
Portland's
in second.
Right. Portland's in second. They missed being the first half champion by a couple of games. Mm-hmm. They kind of had a tough run. They're only 2 games out of the first place. The Yankees Somerset team is 2 games in front of them. They could Binghamton crawling up their backs and Reading crawling up their backs and Hartford. And of course, New Hampshire's not that far out. No, they are really. But yeah, I mean, they're playing 500 ball. They've had a lot of changes going on. If they get hot right now, they could easily overtake Somerset, and if they win the Eastern League second half, they play Somerset, in the first round of the playoffs. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'd like to see them do something. I think it's important for the young players to experience winning, even if it is in the minors, even a division, or, if they win the league championship, it's important for them to understand what being on a winning club is like,
Yeah, and the Woo Sox overall, they're in first place, but Lehigh Valley's only a half game out, and they finished the season against them.
Correct.
So that's going to be really fun to sit there and watch how it all turns out for them, because the Woo Sox, just like the Red Sox finished the season against the Baltimore Orioles. So they've got it. As Baltimore, if Baltimore is ahead far enough, do they rest their players? Some of their pitching. Like, what kind of mindset? Like right now, they're 2.5 up on Tampa. Tampa lost what, 3 of their starting pitchers this season so far?
Yeah, they got hit with the injury bug, and then whatever the heck is going on with Wander Franco, if he ends up, he's on the what, the reserve list or whatever it's called,
The restricted list, yeah.
restricted list right now. However that plays out, if he can't play the rest of the year, that's going to put them in a world of hurt, right? They said they came out like gangbusters in the beginning of the season, swatting everything over the fence. And they've cooled off now. They've lost some pitching. I think their trajectory is, at best is tread water. At worst, I can see them start losing ground to Toronto and the Red Sox. But time will tell.
Yeah, and it's really it's hard to sit there and say what a team's gonna do, like.
Mm-hmm.
But right now we're 10.5 back. We are wild card spot as of now. We're 3 back, and
Right.
Seattle's hot. But the people in front of us, those are the ones that we play. The rest, Houston, Toronto, like we're playing them.
Yeah, the only ones the only people we don't touch is Seattle.
Yeah,
and we had an opportunity to do things out there and didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, well, we just can't win on the West Coast. Well, I don't know why. Like, it's just crazy every year, and then next year we start off all over again, don't we? Out in the West Coast.
I think so. I believe so. It's one of those odd years where you're as far away as you can be. Is it San Francisco? Did they open up in San Francisco next year? I don't know. I gotta take a look at that.
Yeah, I'm not really 100% sure, but it's crazy. Right now we're live recording this. We're down 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
So, but man, it's just. I remember, what was it? 2021, where when we played the Nationals last 3 games, we had to win.
We had to win.
I was there for game 1 of that series.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Devers carried us throughout that series, and man, it's just it was a special moment because it was ridiculous. Like, no one thought we were going to win out,
No.
And we got hot, and then all it took was that one bad call in the playoffs, and we started going downhill. But speaking of bad calls,
George,
let
me take a guess.
You see that Turner one?
I watched that. We just come back from dinner, and I had the game on, and Deb saw it too, and the two of us looked at each other and went, "What? 6-7 inches off the plate?" And to Turner's credit, he could have gone absolutely ballistic, and I think AC was probably waiting for a chance to go out and go hyperspace on him, but he didn't. But he kind of made his point, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I kind of touched on that a little bit in an article I had penned up, ready to rock while I was away, about the fact that in the minor leagues they're working on the electric strike zone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my God, that was so far out. What? And the other thing is, I'm seeing, and I called out in my article. I said, there's a lot of stuff low and away that's getting called a strike. Not so much at the top of the zone, but the bottom of the zone. There's stuff on the bottom of the zone that's easily 4 inches off the plate, and it's getting called a strike. I'm not so sure I like electronic strike zones, but come up with a reasonable challenge thing, and I might be in favor of it. However, we also broke another record last night with the catcher's interference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you were a
That
former
was
catcher.
crazy.
You used to catch, right? I mean, in the old days, they teach you stay far back so you don't get hit by the bat. Well, now it's just the opposite because the stat geeks have decided that, if it's, the closer you get, the better you are at framing pitches, and we are going to grade you on framing pitches to determine your effectiveness as a catcher. Well, last night, our own backup catcher, Reese McGuire, was the 75th person to reach on a catcher's interference call. Okay, it's easily going to go over 100. Okay, and the old record was 74, set back in 1974, almost 50 years ago. My goodness, like this is it's getting out of hand.
Yeah, I loved what our man Will Middlebrook said. Here, I'm going to share it, George, so you can read it. So, right here, Alex Spear posted, Turner got rung up on a full count breaking ball that was probably 6 inches outside. He had a brief exchange with home plate umpire Bruce Dreckman. Will Middlebrook sit there and bam, right back. If that's 6 inches, I'm in the wrong business.
I saw that last night, and I almost fell off my chair. That was great.
And here, we'll sit there and play it full screen.
Oh, did you see what Turner's wife wrote?
No, I did not.
Oh, look that one up.
Here, we're gonna play this again.
Above it, knee.
This is
3-2 and a delay call, but strike 3.
the look on Turner's face.
You see, look at Story. Look at Story. He was like,
yeah. Look at AC there. Yeah. Like
AC's. I think AC was waiting for Turner to go a little bit off, and he was going to go out and and just explode a little bit.
But
and the fact is that Bregman's not a bad umpire, but my goodness, what a horrible call.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I understand. Okay, we want to get the game, wrapped up. I've seen umpires do that a lot in the ninth inning. Okay, we want to get the game on and over with, but that's not the right thing to do. No. And if the umpire sits there and doesn't think that was a strike, like legitimately, his wife must be so happy with him by saying that was a strike and that was 6 inches off the plate, because he's been lying to her all his life.
Yeah, look up what Courtney Turner had to say. But it was it was one of the more horrible calls you'll ever see.
Are you talking about right down the dick?
You got it.
Courtney Turner right here, down the dick. Will Middlebrooks skulls.
Yeah. It's like that the little league umpire who calls a strike when the ball is 6 inches over this little midget 10-year-old, right? That can barely hold the bat in his hands.
Yeah. But I know a bat that I can hold in my hand, George.
What's that? Oh yeah.
Hey, dugout mugs.
There you go.
Sit there and get yours today. Use our code to order your dugout mugs. This is the Boston Red Sox logo one. My man DC and the Pesky Party Girls, they love their knob shots, but you gotta head on over to Dugout Mugs and get yours today.
There you go.
So, speaking of drinking out of things, George, you ordered a little something from us, and have you got a chance to use any yet?
I did have a chance to use the shot glasses. They're very good ones. I like them a lot. Haven't had a chance to do the beer yet, but I just got home, so give me a day. I'll work it out. But yeah, they look awesome, and like I said, I posted a picture,
Yeah.
sitting on top of my bar, and I showed it to a couple of people who've come to the house and like, hey, those are cool. I said, well, if you want one, let me know, and I can tell you where to get it. So there's possibility of those becoming Christmas gifts in my household. So
Oh well, hey, we got the pesky party girl wine glasses, the stemless and the stemmed ones. We got the Pesky Podcast shot glasses, beer mugs.
yeah,
Hey, and then we've got a gift basket package. You can get one of each, for the low price of $25.
$5. That's right.
So, but no,
a very very nice, a very very nice option.
Yeah. So, man, I sit there and I love, when people message us and order the stuff, and then when they post their pictures, because it's like it shows accomplishment of how far DC and myself have come from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We've got you to come on with us and join us. We've got somebody new. I don't want to make the announcement until they're available on Sunday. That's going to be joining us, and she's going to be taking over all of our marketing. She'll be helping take over all of the t-shirt designs that my mind keeps pumping out. So yeah, she's a writer also. So I'm glad to get the older version, like the old school version with you, George, and then the younger version of this person.
No, I think it's great. I know who you're talking about. I am familiar with their work. I think it's an outstanding addition to the team.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely right. So
we've been going back and forth. She receives probably 2 text messages a day for t-shirt ideas, and they're like, love them. And let's see here. One. Ooh. I sent this one at 9:29 last night. And Martin we trust. Man. I better not put all these out here, just because we got people that could possibly use them. But no, we're gonna be releasing, hopefully by the end of the weekend, Sunday when we do our podcast. We're gonna be releasing Series 2 of our shirts that you guys voted on. So we're already working on Series 3 and 4. So these are t-shirts that you're not going to want to miss to get out on. So, but George, any final thoughts? Any final players you want to throw a shout out that have really been catching your eye?
Not so many a player, but it's the lineup in general. With Story, Duvall, and Turner in the lineup, you have 3 right-handed hitters that have some power. Okay, that automatically balances out what most of the season was a left-heavy power hitting lineup. Okay, this is going to make the team a lot more dangerous down the stretch. Okay, because you can't go with pitching matchups. Look, we've talked about 100 times. Left heavy, you can game that. The other thing to remember, and I think going down the stretches, I think Duvall's about ready to go off on one of his stretches again. He's demonstrated that when he gets more than 400 at bats, he starts doing some really serious things in the power numbers. He was out for a couple of months. He's starting to get back. You saw it the other night. he put a hurt on that baseball. Okay.
First pitch. Boom.
Yeah. See you later. I can see him suddenly getting as torrid hot as he was the first couple of weeks of the season. Which would be good. And you know what? He plays all three. He can play all three outfield positions. But yeah, the ability to have Story and Duvall and Turner in the lineup makes you exponentially better because you put the opposing team in a tough and like, oh, what poison do I pick if I'm going to go after a guy? You can't just go after Rafi. You can't just go after Yoshida. You can't just go after Doogie or Casas or anybody. You got to. It's like somebody in that group is going to hurt you, so you have to figure out what's going on. So they say, we talked about it. This is the lineup we've been waiting for, and we're starting to see it. And they scored 5 runs back to back in back-to-back games. Yay, team! Because it was on all or nothing. We'd score 10 runs, and then you go 3 games and you could barely score 2. So this is the consistent hitting, which is this is it. So Duvall, I think, is about ready to go off. But yeah, I think the lineup in general that's going to be the real, no pun intended, story as we come down the stretch. So
yeah, it's we're finally getting to see what Heim put together at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
Nobody sit there and thought we were going to be anywhere near where we are, and we're 3 games behind the wild card spot with the amount of injuries we've had.
Yep.
Wait till we start playing ball and getting everybody on the same page. Jarren Duran, Turner, Story, Devers, Casas. Like now you have to start worrying about the 7, 8, 9 hitters.
Correct.
McGuire, he went off last night with a couple hits. Reyes is back there. Like you can't sit there and Duvall, Verdugo, you got to worry about the whole lineup now. You can't just we can't work around hitters no more. And with Story coming back, that gives you another power bat in that lineup. And I love with Trevor Story when he sits there and says he loved how Jarren Duran has been doing what he's been doing because it makes him want to be better. So those two, are going to be battling back and forth. You hit a double, I can hit a double too. You sit there and get an RBI, I get 2.
People forget how fast Story is. I'd like to see a foot race between him and Duran. I think Duran would win, but it would be close. I mean, if it gets Story can fly.
Yeah.
And then let's get Raffaello up here in September, and then get the Stardust pistol off and see how that turns out.
I still got my money on my man David Hamilton though. David.
Well, wouldn't that be something, huh?
Yeah. I seen somewhere on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, but from home to home, 14.4 seconds.
Ooh.
And I can't remember who it was. But
Yikes.
George, thanks for sitting there and stopping by today and helping us out. And guys, make sure you check us out on all major platforms. Head on over to our YouTube channel. Subscribe, follow us. We're over 1,500 followers on Twitters. I'm really impressed on that. A lot of great friends, a lot of great people, and we're just your one-stop sock shop. So, guys, thanks for stopping by the Pesky Podcast. He is George. I am the Ritt. Until next time. Thanks for coming on the Pesky Podcast.